Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Hazrat Rabi'a bin Ibad radiallahu ta'ala anhu belonged to the Banu Dil tribe, who had all accepted Islam after passing through the period of ignorance. He narrates that during the period of ignorance, he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the marketplace of Zul Majaz, saying to those gathered around him, "O people, say La ilaha illallah, and you will be successful." Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was being trailed by a squint, albeit handsome man whose hair was divided into two locks. He followed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wherever he went, and said to the people, "He is an irreligious man and a liar." Hazrat Rabi'a bin Ibad radiallahu ta'ala anhu says that when he asked about the man, he was informed that the man was Abu Lahab, the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. According to another narration, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to run away from Abu Lahab, who persistently hounded him. Other narrations also mention that as people used to attack Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there would be no one to say anything. However, he would never remain silent, and nothing would prevent him from propagation. Hazrat Tariq bin Abdullah radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that he was in the Zul Majaz marketplace when a man passed by wearing a shawl with red threads. He was saying to the people, "O people, say La ilaha illallah, and you will be successful." He was being trailed by another man who had injured the first man's heels and legs, causing them to bleed. The second man was saying, "O people, do not follow him because he is a liar." When Hazrat Tariq bin Abdullah asked the people who the men were, he was told, "The first man is a man from the Banu Hashim who claims to be Allah's Rasul, and the other is his uncle, Abdul Uzza, Abu Lahab." A person from the Banu Malik bin Kinana tribe narrates that he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Zul Majaz marketplace, saying to the people, "O people, say La ilaha illallah, and you will be successful." Abu Jahl threw sand in the face of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying, "Do not let this man deceive you into leaving your religion. He wants you to forsake your gods. He wants you to forsake Lat and Uzza." However, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam paid no attention to him. When the narrator was asked to describe Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "He was wearing two shawls with red threads. He was of medium height with a well-built body and extremely handsome face. His hair was very black and thick, and his complexion was exceptionally fair." Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gathered his family members when Allah revealed the verse, "O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, first warn your closest relatives about the punishment due to those who reject Iman." Surah Shu'ara verses 214. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then said, "O Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, O Safiya, the daughter of Abdul Muttalib, O children of Abdul Muttalib, ask me whatever you wish from my wealth, but I can give you nothing from Allah. That is, I cannot assist you against Allah's punishment." Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gathered his family members when Allah revealed the verse, "O Rasulullah, first warn your closest relatives about the punishment due to those who reject Iman." 30 of them gathered and had something to eat and drink. Thereafter Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked them, "Who will assume the responsibility of paying my debts and fulfilling my pledges? Whoever does this shall be my companion in Jannah and my successor in my family." Someone said, "But you are an ocean of generosity and virtue. Who could possibly assume your responsibilities?" Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then repeated the request thrice. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam presented the request to the members of his household, Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, "I am prepared." Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam invited the family of Abdul Muttalib, who were such people that each one of them could easily eat a young animal and drink the equivalent of a large quantity of liquid, approximately 20 liters, called a farak. Prepared food weighing only a small portion, from which everyone ate to their fill. The leftover food was as much as there had been at the beginning, and it appeared as if it had not been touched. Thereafter Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent for a small cup from which everyone drank to their fill. The leftover drink was almost as much as there had been at the beginning, appearing as if it had not been touched. Thereafter Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam addressed to them, saying, "O children of Abdul Muttalib, I have been sent as a Rasul to you people in particular, and to all of mankind in general. You have just witnessed one of my miracles, so which of you shall pledge his allegiance to me, to become my brother and companion?" However, no one volunteered. Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu says, I then stood up, although I was the youngest of them all. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told me to be seated and repeated himself thrice. I stood up each time, and each time he told me to be seated. Eventually, when this happened the third time, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam struck his hand on mine, that is, accepted my pledge of allegiance. Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu has also narrated that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam instructed him to prepare a meal using the leg of an animal and a sa of wheat flour for bread when the following verse of the Quran was revealed. O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, first warn your closest relatives about the punishment due to those who reject Iman. Thereafter Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Hazrat Ali to invite the Banu Hashim. During that time, the Banu Hashim numbered approximately 40 to 42 people. Hazrat Ali continues the narration by saying, after the guests had arrived, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent for the food. When he placed the food before them, they all ate to their fill, even though there were people amongst them who could eat a young animal together with gravy all by themselves. Thereafter, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent for a small cup of milk. When he passed the cup around for them to drink, they all managed to drink to their fill. One of them commented, until today I have never seen such magic. It is widely believed that it was Abu Lahab who said this. The following day, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Hazrat Ali, O Ali, prepare the leg of a goat together with a sa of wheat flour and a large cup of milk. Hazrat Ali says, I did as I was told. The guests ate as they had eaten the first day, and drank as they had drunk on the first day. Just as it occurred on the first day, as much food was left over as we had begun with. To this someone commented, never before have we seen such magic as we have witnessed today. On the third day, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, O Ali, prepare the leg of a goat together with a sa of wheat flour and a large cup of milk. After doing as he was told, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked Hazrat Ali to invite the Banu Hashim. Consequently, he gathered them together and they ate and drank. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then spoke to them and saying, which of you are prepared to settle my debts for me? Hazrat Ali says, I remained silent as did everybody else. Thereafter Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam repeated himself. I responded by saying, I am prepared to do so, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said to me, you, O Ali, that is, you are certainly fit for the task. Ibn Abi Hatim has also reported a similar hadith in which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to the people, which of you is prepared to settle my debts and to succeed me as head of my family after my demise? Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu says, everybody remained silent, including Hazrat Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who feared that all his wealth would be used up in settling the debts. I remained silent out of respect for Hazrat Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who was much elder than me. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam repeated his request, Hazrat Abbas again remained silent. When I saw this, I said, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I am prepared to accept this responsibility. On that day, I was worse off than any of them. I was suffering pain in my eyes. My stomach was bloated and my legs were extremely thin. A similar hadith also concerning the dawah Rasulullah ﷺ gave to his family members has already appeared in the chapter. That hadith has a different chain of narrators that is reported from Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas. Hazrat Sa'd radiallahu ta'ala anhu was the guide who directed Rasulullah ﷺ through the Rakuba valley. His son Abdullah says, my father informed us that Rasulullah ﷺ came to them, seeking the shortest path to Medina. He was accompanied by Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu, whose daughter was then being suckled by a woman from our tribe. Hazrat Sa'd radiallahu ta'ala anhu informed them, there is a road along the valley of Rakuba, but there are two thieves from the Aslam tribe there who are called Muhanan. If you wish, you could use the road past them. Rasulullah ﷺ said, lead us to the road past them. Consequently, they took the road, and when they drew close to the thieves, one of them said to the other, look at this person from Yemen. Rasulullah ﷺ then gave them dawah and invited them to accept Islam. They both became Muslims. When Rasulullah ﷺ asked them their names, they said that they were called Muhanan, the two contemptible ones. Rasulullah ﷺ said to them, no, you two are Mukraman, that is, the two honored ones. Rasulullah then told them to join him in Medina. Hazrat Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that they were once traveling with Rasulullah when a villager passed by them. As he drew close, Rasulullah asked him, "Where are you off to?" "I am going home," he replied. Rasulullah asked him, "Do you want to take something good with you?" "What is this good thing?" he asked. Rasulullah replied, "That you testify that there is none worthy of worship but the one Allah, and that Muhammad is Allah's servant and Rasul." The villager asked, "Are there any witnesses to verify what you say?" Rasulullah replied, "Yes, this tree is a witness." Rasulullah then called the tree which stood at the edge of the valley. The tree plowed through the earth as it came towards Rasulullah. When it stood before Rasulullah, he thrice asked him to testify to the truth of what he has said. All 3 times the tree testified to the truth of his words, and then returned to the place where it grew. As he returned home, the villager said to Rasulullah, if my people follow me, I shall bring them all to you. Otherwise, I shall come alone and live with you. Hazrat Asim Aslami radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that while Rasulullah was migrating from Makkah to Medina, Hazrat Buraidah bin Khusayb radiallahu ta'ala anhu met him at a place called Ghamim. When Rasulullah invited him to accept Islam, he and the approximate 80 families with him all accepted. Rasulullah then led them all in the Isha Salah. Hazrat Abdullah bin Jafar narrates that after his uncle Abu Talib had passed away, Rasulullah travelled on foot to Taif to invite the people to Islam. However, they did not accept his dawah and he had to return. On the way back, he took shade beneath a tree, performed 2 rak'ah salah, and made the following dua: "O Allah, only to you do I communicate my weakness and lack of importance among people. O the most merciful of those who show mercy, you are certainly the most merciful of those who show mercy. To whom shall you hand me over? To an enemy who will treat me harshly, or to a near one to whom you shall give control over me? If you are not angry with me, I care for nothing except that your protection should be vast enough for me, in your countenance by which multitudes of darkness are turned to light, and by which the affairs of this world and the Akhirah are remedied. I seek protection from being afflicted by your wrath and displeasure. The causes of your displeasure should be removed until you are pleased. There is no might but with Allah." Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that Rasulullah would never fight any nation until he had already conveyed the dawah of Islam to them. Rasulullah instructs them. Hazrat Abdul Rahman bin Aid radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that whenever Rasulullah dispatched a battalion, he would brief them thus: "Gain the confidence of people and do not attack them until you have called them to Islam. If you bring to me the residents of every baked and unbaked home of every city and village on earth as Muslims, it would please me more than you killing their men and bringing their women and children to me as captives." Hazrat Buraidah radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that whenever Rasulullah appointed someone as commander of Muslim troops, he would instruct him to fear Allah with regard to his personal actions, and advise him to be good towards those under his command. Furthermore, Rasulullah would brief them with the following words: "When you face your mushrik enemies, invite them to accept one of 3 options. Should they accept any of these, you may not engage them in battle. First, invite them to accept Islam. If they accept, you should accept this from them and refrain from fighting them. You should then call them to move from their place to the home of the Muhajirin. Inform them that if they do this, they shall enjoy the privileges of Muhajirin and will have to fulfill the responsibilities that the Muhajirin do. However, if they refuse to move and prefer their homes, inform them that they will fall in the category of the Muslim villagers. Allah's commands that apply to all Muslims shall apply to them, but they will have no share in the spoils of war unless they fight together with the other Muslims. If they refuse this option, ask them to pay the jizya. Should they accept this, accept it from them and refrain from fighting them. However, if they refuse even this, seek Allah's assistance and fight them. If you lay siege to a fort and the enemy asks you to allow them to leave on Allah's terms, do not allow it because you have no idea what Allah's terms are. You should rather allow them to leave on your terms. You may then decide what the terms should be.